back to Lovin Dubai show. The day has finally come. A new podcast, Unspoken, airs today on all major podcast apps. A podcast tackling taboo and unconventional topics in the region where nothing is off limits. Today we're joined by Sabine Sassine, half of the dynamic duo hosting the Unspoken podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, ladies. It's my second time on the Lovin show. The studio is obviously much bigger, much nicer. And you girls are doing amazing.
Thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations on the podcast.
Thank you.
We're very excited to talk about that today.
So yeah, second time we're having you. Clearly we're obsessed. But do tell us about yourself before we start.
First time because I was a cat woman, so probably no one recognized me back then, and she was Ketchup, right?
I think I was Ketchup. That was a Halloween show, like how many years ago?
2019.
Okay.
That was pre-COVID when things were good.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a TV presenter and a podcaster. I did a podcast before and it was a sports podcast because most of the things I present on TV are sports related. And I actually got a taste of it and I enjoyed it. And I think podcasting is actually interesting because you get people to open up differently when it's audio only. For some reason, they feel much more comfortable. No one's watching. They're not conscious about the way they look or whoever's watching them. They feel like, just talking to themselves out loud or to someone without anyone else listening. So I enjoy the idea of podcasting in general because I listen to podcasts. And then I was with Fuad, who's also a colleague and a friend. And we were having this conversation that was more than a year ago, that's for sure. It's a long time ago. And we were talking about those different topics that we usually discuss among friends. And since we both work in the media industry, we never get to discuss them on mainstream media. Or if we do it in a very, I would say, conservative manner. You can't just say things bluntly. You can't ask any questions because television in the region, whether we like it or not, it's not as... how to explain it? It's not. There are so many do's and don'ts. So we decided to do this podcast to be able to discuss these things freely, and they are part of our life. And there are topics that you can suffer from, me, anyone. And it's nice to discuss them with a third personality because our guests are selected based on the topic. And so we decided to create this Unspoken podcast that we've been tweaking for the past month with the team, also here at Augustus. And we're finally launching today.
It's so great to chat to you because I've heard kind of like whisperings about what Unspoken is going to be about. So to get it from you is great. But you said that in mainstream media, you can't touch on some controversial topics, but you guys are doing it. So are you nervous about broaching some taboo topics?
No, I'm not nervous. I think with the experience I have already in media, I know how to approach topics, I know how to approach them without getting all the backlash that someone who's not experienced can get, what words to use. But at the same time, it's interesting to approach these topics because if I tell you some of those topics for you, they might be, come on, it's not even a taboo. We speak about them all the time. But in this part of the world, we either ignore them or we speak about them briefly in a shallow way or they're non-existent at all. So, no, I wouldn't say I'm nervous.
What kind of topics are we talking about here?
So we're talking about different stuff, like I would say man's mental health. It's a topic that no one discusses in the region because men always appear strong and confident and everything's good, everything's perfect, even if they're, in some cases, probably suicidal. So that's one of the topics. And we're discussing it with, I don't want to reveal the guest, but it's a guest who wouldn't, in general, show this. He is someone who would show always, the positive attitude, the strong masculine attitude. We're discussing anxiety in our first episode, and that's going to be revealed today. We're discussing the new beauty standards, for instance, and what we call today the Snapchat syndrome or dysmorphia, and how people are obsessed with changing their looks because filters whether we like it or not, are affecting our psychology. So there are so many topics out there that are part of our life, and hey, we're just discussing them, me and Fuad and our third guest.
So what would you say is the difference? You said like we choose the topics and then we choose the guests. Why don't you do it the other way around?
We do it sometimes the other way around.
Like you
sometimes we find a personality that's interesting enough, and then we say, if we have her or him as guest, what would be an interesting topic to discuss, and then we build the episode. So it's either way.
But do you feel like you'll ever run out of topics?
For now, no. We just started. I guess we're good.
What have you had any kind of special learning? How many episodes have you created so far?
We've created 4 or 5 episodes, but I mean, we have many lined up. But we didn't want to record many episodes and then watch them and then say we needed to change this or that. So it was good to record these and then not watch them, listen to them and then see what we tweak for later episodes.
And has there been any throughout maybe the 4 or 5 guests that you've had, have you had any kind of special learnings or kind of like an aha moment that you were like, that's really special and that's really going to touch the audience?
Yes, absolutely. Many. I mean, it's nice when I think for any person who's doing an interview, the most important thing is having this person in front of you opening up and saying things that you didn't expect them to say, or you're not used to them saying them. So yeah, I think that's our aha moment. We'll have some of them with Fuzaza today. So so our guest for today is Fuzaza.
What a big show guest to start with, and that's broaching on anxiety.
Yes, and it's anxiety. So Fuzaza is she's a Dubai-based blogger. Everyone knows her, I guess, and. She's such an interesting personality because she's outspoken, she's opinionated, she has something to say about any topic. And anxiety is something that she spoke about so many times on her social media. So we wanted to discuss this topic with her because she would openly tell you about how she suffers from anxiety. Now, who doesn't suffer from anxiety? Even kids who are 4 and 5 suffer from anxiety, but we don't label them. And it's nice to hear from her because she would open up and she would tell you how it affected her life and what's triggering her anxiety on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's amazing to know because a lot of people are anxious from time to time but don't know what's triggering this anxiety or don't know what is it called exactly. So yeah, for Zaza, I think her episode is really nice because she was as genuine as she is normally, and tune in this afternoon to listen to what she had to say.
That's exciting, but why are you choosing to go live and like take everything now? Was it planned? Like, okay, we're going to have it slated for this date, for this month, this year, or why now, basically?
Why now? We were supposed to start much earlier, trust me. We were supposed to start during summer. And then we decided that summer isn't the right time, so let's wait until after summer. And it was supposed to be a digital show. And then Fuad had to move to Australia because, he got an offer in Australia and had to move to Australia. And then we were like, okay, we recorded some episodes. It's been a long time we're working on this. What are we going to do? And then we decided to shift it into an audio only. And then, proceed.
So obviously you're going to talk about taboo topics and it's going to go live and you have big personalities that you're talking about these really important stuff with, which is amazing. But are you preempting any negative backlash?
I mean, you can always expect any negative backlash, but let's see how it goes first. I mean, we're testing it today and we hope we get feedback, whether it's positive or negative. I mean, we welcome both. As long as it's constructive feedback and it's not bullying, because bullying is one of the topics, by the way. The bullying we see on social, the bullying celebrities get, the bullying in general. I mean, it's one of the topics that we're discussing also in our show. So as long as it's constructive, whether positive or negative, we welcome that.
We're all about the positive feedback.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, who's that?
Well, we do have a special message from Fuad coming. So this is, by the way, from Fuad, who is the co-host of Unspoken. And we're going to hear what he says. So he's in Australia?
He is. He's in Sydney. He moved, I would say, a month ago. So
he has a very special message for you. Are you going to play it now?
Hey guys, hey Sabine, I miss you so much. Such an overwhelming day for me, and I'm sure it is for you as well. This little craft of ours that we've been working on for so long is finally coming into shape. I hope every single person tuning in to Lovin today gets to feel the amount of energy, love, and passion that Sabine and I have put into this little project. We've been working on it for so long, over 12 months. And we've literally put our heart and our soul into it. We want to be different. We want to do something that hasn't been done before. And we hope you guys can sort of sense that through every single episode and all the array of celebrities and guests that we will be hosting on this podcast, starting off tonight at 4 p.m. I can't say much more than that. I just hope you enjoy it as much as we did. Make sure you tune in. Love you guys.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No.
So, super sweet. Depending where you were watching that, we only picked up the audio on some feeds. So if you want to watch Fuad's message later, we're going to pop it into an article so you can definitely see it again, because I think some of the audio channels picked that up and others didn't. I know Instagram, you're always behind the scenes. You need to join the other shows. But Fuad, thank you so much for that message. It's just a shame you cannot be here for the big reveal, which is today of the Unspoken podcast. Before you leave us, more guests on the show. You've mentioned Fazaza. Are you going to drop us any more insights?
No more. So let's start with Fazaza.
No more. That's all we get.
One thing you need to know is that our guests aren't only from social media personalities. So you might have another guest who's a doctor, another one who's an actor, another one who's a presenter. So our guests come from different fields, depending on the subject. And we're starting with Fazaza, so tune in this afternoon on any podcast platform, whether it's Anghami, whether it's Apple, Spotify, what else?
Oh, wherever you get your podcast. Isn't that what the podcast people say? Wherever you listen to your podcast, yes. You'll find Unspoken.
No, but even if you don't listen to podcasts and you want to tune in, search for Unspoken.
I think it's great. We're obviously talkers, and having conversations about anything, it doesn't matter what the topic is, it makes it easier. So if you're feeling anxious about anything, anxiety or a specific topic, having a conversation makes it better. And what you guys are doing is great, because you're normalizing topics that aren't normalized in the region. So massive congratulations and good luck as it drops today.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Guys,
thank you. My pleasure.
That is all we have time for. And we'll see you on Monday morning, same time, same place. Bye-bye.